dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you.
Okay, this one's, I'll say it. 1, 2, 3, 4, Nayak supports dictator.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The mullahs must surrender. The mullahs must surrender. Down with Mushtaba!
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 Down with Mushtaba! Alternative for Iran!
Reza, Reza, Pahlavi!
Alternative for Iran!
Reza, Reza, Pahlavi!
Alternative for Iran! Islamic regime must go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Islamic regime must go!
All together, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Islamic regime must IRGC must surrender!
IRGC must surrender!
IRGC must surrender!
He uses his platform to speak out against the Islamic regime. His activism has made him a target of transnational repression, including a 2026 shooting incident at his boxing gym in Ontario. Despite these threats, Gholami remains a steadfast figure in the diaspora, blending athletic excellence with a commitment to the Iranian people's struggle for liberty. Please give a big round of applause for Salar Gholami.
Hi everyone, thank you. Actually, English is my third language. It's hard to speak, but just I want to say thank you to US because we was waiting for the support from President Trump, and we had the hope because the President Trump is different. He is not like Biden, Obama, or other president. They cheating and they lying to Iranian people. And this time, this window is open for all the Iranian. All the Iranian in the Iran, they are happy. And we know a lot of fake news. They coming outside. They said, stop the war. But it's not war for us. It's help for us. It's coming from the Israel and United States. And توش بکنیم. اگر گروه بندی بشه این اصلا خوب نیست. همه ما یک هدف داریم، یه رهبر داریم، یه پرچم داریم، یه شعار داریم. اینکه دو گروه بشن واقعا مورد تایید نیست. باید با هم دیگه یکی بشیم. این نیست که یه عده اینجا باشن یه عده جای دیگه. این باعث میشه که عده زیادی نیان چون احساس کنن ما اختلاف داریم. ما هیچ اختلافی نداریم. این پرچم و شاهزاده همه ما رو با هم همبستر کرده. به همین خاطر ازتون خواهش میکنم صبوری کنین، شکیبایی کنین و هدفتون فقط آزادی ایران باشه. پس از آزادی ایران انقدر ذهنای زیبا و متخصص داخل ایران هست که امثال من و سالار غلامی باید برن دوباره به تخصص خودشون که ورزشه تو شهر خودشون بپردازن. فضا رو ایجاد کنیم برای اونا. ما سربازیم و حق نداریم جلوتر از شاهزاده حرکت بکنیم.
Organization dedicated to amplifying the voices of the people of Iran on the streets of New York. We believe that it is our responsibility as the Iranian diaspora to support the current uprising against the Islamic regime and to provide a platform to bring our community together in this effort. We are united in our mission and principles, and we as a group will continue this fight until our home country and people are free. Iranians, both in Iran and in the diaspora, are not a monolith. We represent many ethnic groups and many religions. But one thing that binds us all together is our fight for regime change in Iran. The Islamic regime must go. In 2026 alone, the Islamic regime murdered more than 30,000 innocent Iranian civilians protesting for freedom. They are fighting for basic human rights. Instead, for 47 years, the Islamic regime has abused its power to oppress the Iranian people, slaughtering and imprisoning those who dare defy them. It is our mission, our responsibility to advocate on their behalf and be the voice of innocent Iranians, the victims of the Islamic regime. Today, we are at a critical point in history. The Iranian people have reached a level of desperation in which they feel there is no better alternative than war. The US and Israel have supported the Iranian people by weakening the regime's leadership. The majority of people in Iran have vocalized their support for Reza Pahlavi, son of Shah Reza Pahlavi, to be the transitional leader to usher them into a democratic country. We focus on 4 non-negotiable red lines. 1, territorial integrity. 1 nation, 1 flag. Iran must remain whole and undivided. 2, separation of religion and state, the critical foundation for any democracy. 3, equality under the law. All citizens are equal before the law with no exceptions. And 4, democratic process. The people elect their representatives. From all of this, one thing is clear. Iranians cannot do this alone. They need our support. Please join us in being their voice. The Islamic regime must go. Hey, hey ho! Islamic regime must go! Hey, hey ho!
The Islamic regime must go. Hey, hey, ho, ho.
The Islamic regime must go!
Hey, hey.
Dr. Yaz Alizadeh is a clinical associate professor and coordinator of the Persian program at New York University. Active in Iranian diaspora conversations, she advocates for freedom in Iran and engages with cultural and political issues surrounding her home country. Notably, she signed a public statement by a group of university professors and academics inside and outside of Iran, endorsing Reza Pahlavi's democratic transition plan, rejecting the Islamic Republic's constitution as illegitimate, and calling for power transfer to the people under his guidance. Please give a big round of applause to Dr. Yaz Alizadeh.
First and foremost, today is the birthday of the forefather of Iranian modernity, Reza Shah Pahlavi. From From public schools to public universities, from railroads to the role of women in the public sphere, Reza Shah was the one who allowed all this to happen and the civil society to grow in Iran. So we are indebted to him. Iran is at war, but this war was not started by America or Israel in 2026. The war began exactly on February 1st, 1979, before many of you were born, when Khomeini stepped out of Air France, leaning gently on a French flight attendant, went straight to the nation's largest graveyard and gave his first dooming lecture to Iranians. It was exactly at that moment, just like what you see in Grimm's dark fairy tales, when one chilling curse fell upon a nation and poisonous air put everyone in a spell. Iran's whole world turned upside down. Darkness fell on a people. Misery and death and poverty found their way into every corner of Iranian households. Dear friends, when the war began, it was 1979. And so Iranians had to fast learn to survive, to defend themselves, to protect themselves, to adjust, to cover and to cover up, and change into a people protecting themselves against a usurper, to survive against the occupier who now claimed everything, from politics to economy, to culture, to religion, to flag, to the Iranian body. Everything was taken. This was the beginning of a cultural genocide and a human massacre. Iranians were now being killed. Their culture was being banned. They were burying their books and photo albums, hiding them in the gardens of their houses. And we're now all citizen warriors, secret warriors against an Islamic militia that usurped and occupied our homeland and used and abused our abundance, and did this for almost half a century. Prince Reza Pahlavi sent a message to these Iranian warriors, Garde Javidan, he did this yesterday, that the occupation is almost over and that we need to be diligent and we must be ready for the final phase of this war against the occupier. You see, we were in a long war with the regime and we never stopped fighting, but we did fight alone. No one came to our help. Nowhere did we see any intersectionality of our suffering, our goals with that of other people. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Every intellectual in the West, from Foucault in 1979, seemed to not just side with the Islamist occupier, but justify them, defend them, encourage them to do even more harm to the soul of the Iranian. The West appeased the occupier. You all know Nayak. And so the regime started to kill not just in Iran, but outside too. The regime murdered dissenting Iranians who had escaped to Germany, to France. They killed in Turkey. They killed in Canada. They dismembered Fereydun Farrokhzad in 1992 in a manner that only those of us who have lived in the Islamic Republic know, that people with a political seat, a university chair, and a government title could also be outright killers, and then, of course, we all know, be granted a professional title in prestigious universities across the world and in the United States. Dear friends, the main reason a war is a catastrophe is not because buildings are lost. Don't forget, Berlin was carpet bombed by the Allied forces in World War II. Don't forget how 20,000 Nazi supporters gathered in Madison Square Garden on February 20th, 1939, and then again in 1941, rallied across Manhattan with banners that said, "Hitler has not attacked us. Why attack Hitler?" This is my response to whoever says, why is Israel and the United States interfering in the lives of Iranians? We need to get freedom, and that's the only way it's possible. Going back to what the true enemies of Iranian people have been, let's remember Cinema Rex in Abadan and the killing of 400 Iranians by Khomeini's zealots in 1978. Following his constant rant against movie theaters and Iranian culture and women's right to vote and their appearance in public spaces, and his soon-to-come decree that even chess was haram, and that music was forbidden, and women's voice was banned. This is when the war on Iran began. So when the girls as young as 9 were now marriageable. The war began when there were no female judges allowed, and that happened in 1979. Women were not allowed anymore to be judges. Male were not allowed to be gynecologists. And in the university, men and women students, male and female students, sat in separate rows. Usually it was men in the front and women in the back. By the new standard of cultural revolution and the cleansing of the country of Western influences. Okay, we have to wait. We saw ourselves and our friends sitting at home at the age of 18 and 19, banned from entering the university based on what they called Islamic investigation. We saw young men drafted and killed in a war that Khomeini had triggered and dragged for 8 years with the motto, "The path to Jerusalem runs through Karbala." Whoever is from Iran remembers this. "Rah Quds az Karbala mi gozarad." That's what they said. And they dragged us into a war for 8 years with Iraq. We saw our cousins being imprisoned and executed. We saw our family holding secret funerals or not at all for our executed family members. Let's not forget the chain murders of Iran's writers and poets. Let's not forget Karun Hajizadeh, who was killed along with his father in the chain killings of 1990s. 50 university professors, poets, and authors were killed during that decade. We learned to survive all this and held on to the warrior spirit until the day would come. As warriors, we kept in our memory the killing of 176 passengers on board the Ukrainian airline in 2020, the flight that was targeted by the missiles of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC. The same killers who killed Syrians who rose up against brutal Assad in 2012. We held in our hearts hundreds of thousands killed by COVID because Khamenei said no to American medicine. شگفتی فرو مانده از بخت او به جمشید بر گوهر افشاندند مران روز را روز نو خواندند سر سال نو هرمز فرودین برآسوده از رنج روی زمین بزرگان به شادی بیاراستند می و جام و رامشگران خواستند چون این جشن فرخ از آن روزگار به ما ماند از آن خسروان یادگار. The poet wrote this 1,000 years ago, and he is referring to thousands of years before that when Nowruz was celebrated by Iranians. ز رنج و ز بدشان نبود آگهی، میان بسته دیوان به سان رهی. به فرمان مردم نهاده دو گوش، ز رامش جهان پر ز آوای نوش. چنین تا برآمد برین روزگار، ندیدند جز خوبی از کردگار. جهان سر به سر گشت او را رهی، نشسته جهاندار با فرهی.